gotta say, that was a boatload of fun. That's crazy. It was a crazy amount of work in 10 days to get that show up on its feet. All those dance reprises, all that brilliant Randy Skinner stuff. And we just, like tonight, we were like, oh, we know the show. Happy closing.
It's insane. It starts off and you're a little nervous and you're thinking, how are we going to put this huge musical together? And it's not a concert. This is basically a revival of this wonderful show from the 70s. And 8 days, I take my hat off to the ensemble. They just continued to amaze me every single night.
I mean, it's crazy. You have, I think, 4 days, really. They say you have 7, but by that 6th and 7th day, you're putting it together. So you have 4 days to not only learn the choreography and the music and everything, but learn a period style piece, which is totally different.
Encores is definitely a shot out of the cannon. Go, do a show. But after I got over being starstruck with Rosie and Sandy and Charles and Michael Berresse and these 30 amazing dancers and singers, it's been a blast.
Everybody gets their turn at, having the moment, which is also part of what's fun. And the ensemble in this show, you look at any one of those faces at any point in the evening and you're entertained because they were engaged and wonderful.
One of the key ingredients is an audience. I wish we could play it longer because it's light as air and you have to keep spinning it and working with an audience. But the key is a great cast, and I think that we had incredibly skillful musical comedy performers, and the emphasis is on both musical and comedy. I mean, we had some great, wonderful comic instincts up there too.
Walter Bobbie asked me, and that's enough reason I do anything he said. I had never seen Nanette, I didn't know anything about it, and he called me and said, Rosie, Encores, you in? I'm like, yes. He goes, you want to know the show? I'm like, no. Do you want to know the part? No. He goes, you'll do it? Yes. When they told me that I had to tap at the end, I started taking lessons in January. I never tapped in my life, and luckily was able to get through my 30 seconds. Everybody said what was the most nerve-wracking part? The end of Act 3, when I had to do 30 seconds of tap.
When I remembered it, because last night I got off and she was following me. We were both like, so yeah, Rosie likes to tap next to me when I'm getting my steps right.
Last night I looked at her and she like winked at me during the time step. It totally threw me off. I was like, oh no, Sandy Duncan winked at me. Where am I? I loved it.
The trick to pulling off having this light bouncy air, I think is loving it. I mean, this has always been my favorite thing to do. These Nanette, 42nd Street, these shows that from this era that are all just about loving life and having fun. And so I think you just have to really believe it yourself and commit to it.
This show is fantastic. I mean, there's nothing like a tap show to pass the time. It's really fun and just very lighthearted. I mean, every time you do a show, sometimes you take on the spirit of the show a little bit. You take it home with you. So this is the best kind of show to take home with you because it's just so, as everybody keeps saying, it's like a nice glass of champagne, all bubbles.
It's just so completely unusual. Unless you watch Nickelodeon, it's so unusual to see this kind of almost a childlike innocence and happiness. People that want to be happy. And they are.
And you hear the audience, they are like standing and singing with us at the end. It's one of those shows. It's just one of those feel-good, souffle, delicious, come to the theater and leave your troubles at the door and sing some songs you like and watch us tap dance kind of shows.
I can dance with any girl at all.
As long as
I come home.
you've got to come home.
If I come home. material is just so buoyant, and the world can use a little buoyancy. It's nice to be doing something where your only obligation is to try to have fun.
I think people crave it. I think people are surprised by the buzz that they feel when they leave the show, and I think they really crave it. I think it's wonderful to have shows that are so thought-provoking and leave you changed in that way, but I think it's also very necessary to have a show that just lifts your spirits.
We want